just.
Well, we're live now, but we've got, who do we have left? Jamie's left. Ben Horton has left.
Oh,
Perry.
Yeah.
And new mayor, Ben Short.
Oh, you had done. Okay.
Yeah, he wanted to be last, so he's going to be last. All right, so we're live.
All right.
This will start. People will filter in as they can. It'll be one of those things that if there's not a bunch of people on here, they'll watch it later.
Okay.
It's saving in multiple places. So, all right, we are live. Another Writer's Block live. Before we get started, I am going to go ahead and mention our sponsors for this. That you can see these running on the ticker as you watch. But first, 360 Lending, navigating paths to home ownership. Visit my360lending.com for more information there. And also Mark Turner, attorney at law. Visit markturnerlawfirm.com or call 205-568-7003. You will see their logos pop up throughout this live, and certainly their information that I just read off on the ticker below. So without further ado, we are live with Trussville Mayor Buddy Choat.
Morning, Gary.
Appreciate you being here.
Yes, sir.
We both had some scheduling stuff to work around.
We did.
Football.
We did. Worked at football.
Both of us. You football, me football. 'Tis the season.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Hey, glad we got together.
Yeah, I'm certainly appreciative of it, and especially as you kind of come down the stretch here on
Winding down a little bit.
9 years, winding down. Does it feel like it's winding down?
It does. Now it does.
Yeah.
I was telling somebody earlier, back when the election, back in August,
Yeah.
Everybody thought, the day the election over, they thought I left office. And I said, oh, no, I got a couple more months, till
Yeah.
November 3rd. And then I said, well, I got another month. Well, dadgum, it's getting here pretty quick now.
Yeah.
So we're tying everything up. Ben and I have had several conversations. He's already laid some groundwork. So he's had 2 months. I had about 2 weeks. We had that runoff and all that. But anyway, I'm looking forward to Ben taking over. But, my time here has been great, Gary. I've certainly enjoyed it.
Is it like when a new administration is coming in, is there a level of like you start to almost coast a little bit, pass things off, or is it like, hey, we're going full 100% until November 3rd?
Yeah, a little of both actually.
Both?
We were working on our budget, going full speed on that budget and everything, and some other things. We're still working at it, but I think with being here and 5 years on the council, that transition is going quite well. I hope he's happy with it. I've offered any kind of help I can, but what it does, it kind of gets you caught in the middle. I'm still trying to do some things this way, and I know some things are looming. Yeah. So it's kind of like, all right, we got our last council meeting next Tuesday night, then Ben and his group will come in. What do we want to put on that agenda?
Everything.
Everything.
Everything or nothing.
But it's been great. But yeah, it's winding down. Be here soon.
Yeah. I actually ran some of this. I put a bunch of information into ChatGPT, which I'm not super proud of, but it is what it is.
Well, at least you admitted it.
I did admit it, but I took stuff like either stuff that I've written or past interviews, certainly stuff that's happened over the last year or two, and kind of more than anything, didn't have it necessarily come up with questions for me, but had it kind of categorized.
Okay.
So just going to kind of go through some of these. Since 2016 for you, most surprising part of the job?
Most surprising?
Yeah.
Well, I guess the most surprising thing is how detailed you have to be on some of the governmental side. Everybody talks about red tapes.
Yeah.
Well, there is red tape, believe me. But the surprising part was once you figured out how to do it, it really became quite easy, Gary. Once you figure out, okay, I didn't cross this T, but I did. Everything's rolled after that. I do think, and I'll say this publicly, I'm surprised that, and I'm happy that people have been very respectful of me and my wife or family when we're out. A lot of people come up and speak, but nobody has really, come with a problem that, sometimes I think people feel like you just get bombarded out there, but our citizens have been great. I've talked to them. I think, me, I just soon talk to them.
Yeah.
Guy I used to work for said bad breath is better than none at all. So that's what I try to talk to them and just tell them the truth. But to be surprised by anything, I guess it's how much the people that we have served have really been respectful to me and my family out in the public.
Yeah. Any decision or any moment that still keeps you up at night?
Well, the one disappointment lately was our school tax vote.
Mm.
And, I told somebody earlier, I said, of all the great things or good things I feel like that we were able to do, just was not able to get that across the finish line. I feel very confident that it will at some point get across that line. But yeah, that was disappointing, but it wasn't because of lack of effort. And there was a lot of effort on both sides, the schools and the city, and just turned out it was bad timing. And I don't think our people were voting against our school system at all.
No, I think it was certainly a timing thing, and that's what I told people after the fact, after the vote went when it went against it, was like I gained so much more respect for like Dr. Martin for like kind of, that was in a way he had been here, but like that was his, I think, big introduction to Trussville in a fuller way. And it was like, not just like, hey, how are you? But it was, hey, how are you? Need your help, And like that to me would probably take a lot of courage.
I enjoyed working side by side. I watched him, how he communicated to the public. He was very clear in his message. I had a lot of tough questions, quite honestly, during that time. But Dr. Martin and I really tried to do the same thing, just be as open as we could about it, and really gained a lot of respect for him and the way he handled himself during a very tough and trying time, to be quite honest with you.
What do you think? Do you think this fourth elementary school, obviously it's still a need. My kid is now at Payne University, which is why Carline this morning was wild. Like usually it goes off without a hitch. Today it was like, oh, okay, there's everybody.
Yeah.
Usually we kind of get in
Kind
and
of
out.
missed some of that.
Whew, man, it was crowded.
Yeah.
But like, do you think this next administration, something could happen or might happen? Or,
I hope so. I think over the next 4 years, I don't think our growth is going to be as significant over the next 4 years as it was in the previous 10, probably. Sure. But I do think there's a need, Gary, and I do think, and quite honestly, I think there's some things going on behind the scenes that are actually looking at a way to fund that elementary school and to find a location, quite honestly.
Yeah.
Glendale is not on the map now for us as a city.
I'll show that some stuff from Glendale. There we go.
Yeah.
Continue. I just like to show stuff as we go. There's that Glendale property.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah. This fella here was scratching his neck on that old rail bed or whatever that is. So anyway.
Well, but I do think, and I hope this administration and between the Board of Education will find a way to get that elementary school. We desperately need one.
I won't ask you like what's going on behind the scenes because they're behind the scenes for a reason, but I do have my tinfoil hat that has an idea. I'm not going to say it on here, but I'll tell you offline what I think.
Okay.
What it's not based on anything, anybody I've talked to. It's just something in my mind that I'm like, I could see that happening.
Well, we'll talk about it.
And I'll just say this. I could still see it happening at Glendale, but we'll see.
Yeah. Hey, at least you're thinking about it. Hope other people are thinking about it too, to be honest with you.
Yeah. What are you going to miss the most about this being in this role?
I think what I'm going to miss is the opportunity to work with some great people. And I started City Hall or the annex where we are now. And of course, my assistant Stacy Frazier has been with me almost from the beginning. What an asset she is. I know Ben's going to keep her around and going down the hall and seeing the city clerks and the finance department and Mandy Dixon, the way our HR department has grown, IT is in there. Just being able to work with them, and the department heads have been awesome to work with. When I first came in, Gary, we had a staff meeting. I don't know if I ever told you this. We had a staff meeting, and I just kind of wanted to get to know them as a liaison on the council. Sure. I knew who they were, but I didn't really know them. So we called this meeting together and went around the room, and I just asked everybody to just tell their story, so to speak, kind of where they came from, how they got there, and all that. And I was amazed at how little the other department heads knew about each other. I mean, they knew that so-and-so was in charge of this. Yeah. And we spent about an hour and a half going around there and built what I thought was a good team at that time. And most of those department heads are still here, and I certainly appreciate what they've done. But I'm going to miss that part of it. I miss the challenge of keeping the city on the right track and moving forward and growing in the right way and things like that. But I knew that it was time for me. I didn't feel like 4 more years was in the best interest of me or the city, to be honest with you. But I will miss it. I'll miss the people, but I'm not leaving Trussville. Right. I'll be here, and I expect to see a lot of people. Expect to have a little more time to spend with people. Than I had before. Yeah.
What are you going to miss the least? That's the fun one.
Yeah, that's a good one right there. You know what I just, you can't help it, but you get caught up at Facebook, and Lord, it's just
post and ghost.
Yeah, that's it. And I don't look at it unless there's really an issue that we're talking about. Sure. I kind of get a read on people on that thing, but I'm not going to have to worry about picking that thing up and being accused of stealing money or getting paid under the table or, doing this sort of stuff. And, I just, the downside to all of that is sometimes people put so much confidence in what they read online instead of asking. But I do think that's one thing that we've been able to do over 9 years is we've had an open door policy. If somebody wanted to talk to me or had a reason to talk, I'd meet with them. And I think that helps. I'm sure Ben and his administration will do the same.
That seems like something that you've seen or I've seen like progressively get little better. Like if you want to go like year after year, because there was a time, certainly not just this administration, but in any administration where it feels like there could have been more outreach to the community, more ways for people to know things versus the old way of just like, hey, get on this email list and but I see it getting better, and I think this next administration is going to build off of that.
I think they're going to take it to the next level. I'm old and I don't know the technology side quite like Ben does, but
he knows it. Yeah.
But we have tried to be open, and we've tried to do things more to be out and be visible in the community and things like that.
Yeah. What do you think the single biggest accomplishment has been for you, for this administration? Well, for the last 2 administrations, I guess.
Yeah. Well, Gary, I go back to 2016 and the first part of 17 when I came into office, and we had our little work session and had a new council and things like that. And the first 2 things we had on the agenda was to finish Valley Road, the extension up there. And
love that extension.
And find a way to do something downtown. And we can check that box now. And we broke ground downtown January the 2nd, 2019. Really about 2 years after we started going that, got Valley Road opened up, and then things have kind of progressed after that. But I think getting those 2 things done, I know a lot of people talk about downtown, the entertainment district. That's a big deal. I was down on the Panhandle of Florida last week. I went down to what used to be the hub, where I got the idea for our downtown. It's called the Big Chill now, I think. Okay. And I was talking to the lady that's running that thing, and I said, you don't know where Trussville, Alabama is, but if you ever want to look it up, I want you to see that we took your idea and kind of expanded on that. And she was quite happy to know that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but you can't deny the fact that I think our downtown has made such a big difference
Oh, yeah.
in Trussville. And I tell you what's cool about it, Gary, and I don't know if your class has or not, but we've had a lot of class reunions down there that people your age and older that may have graduated would have never thought they would have had it here. They would have had, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like I think our tenure or whatever was like somewhere downtown Birmingham.
Yeah.
And now I guess next year will be our 20-year reunion.
Sure will.
And
maybe have that.
That's the thing is like it could easily, whoever's planning it ain't gonna be me, but whoever's planning it, I'm sure that Ferris and that area will be on the short list.
Well, I would hope so. And we've had other schools, whether it be Banks or Woodlawn or I think John Carroll.
So many of them live over here.
Yeah, I think John Carroll had a reunion out here recently, but that's very gratifying to see people outside of Trussville now kind of take advantage of this. And we've had a lot of visitors to our entertainment district, quite honestly, other cities. I know Prattville's been here, Cladden's been here, Fort Payne, several cities. Not everybody has the opportunity that we had. Are
they coming as a municipality to like get ideas for their towns and stuff? Okay.
And Pelham tearing down the
Oak Mountain
Amphitheater.
Yeah.
I saw where they had a town hall meeting, and a couple of the pictures that were displayed at that meeting were pictures of our entertainment district.
How about that?
Now, that's really just to say these are ideas. Our ideas came from somewhere, like I just said. So hopefully it'll help. So I think it's neat if a city can have what we have, and it makes a difference within the community.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask this way: what project, what thing that got done are you maybe most proud of that didn't get the credit you think that it deserved? Like entertainment district obviously is big, and that's gotten the credit it deserves. What's something that's maybe a little more under the radar that people aren't noticing as much that you think they should?
Well, there's been a lot of infrastructure problems that we tried to address, Gary. And, as much as I think we have improved some of that with Highway 11, that widening in front of City Hall there from Main Street all the way down to the river. That was 15 years in the making, and we got that done. I think that's made a huge difference. Railroad Avenue.
We just got to teach people here how to use that zipper lane.
Yeah, for sure.
They're all
for sure. And then of course we're working on the Loop Road project now. So those little things kind of go under the radar until they're done, just like the interstate project.
Oh yeah,
that's going to be fantastic when it's done. Hey, when the county started improving North Chalkville Road up there, people were raising Cain about that thing. Now you go up there, and you're like, well, where is everybody? There's nobody going over the hill. The county came in and decided, thank goodness, to resurface Trussville Clay Road this year, first day of school, I think. And so all that came in. So I think those kind of things are always going to be there. But those are things that you have to work on. It takes time to do that.
Oh, yeah.
And so, but I think and now with our new, I guess, development of the utilities and City Hall and extending Railroad Avenue now to come up behind Trussville Gas and Water to where it'll come to the intersection. I think that's going to be fantastic.
Take some off of Highway 11 too.
Yeah. At one time, we did a traffic study on what the loop roads would take off of the intersection on Highway 11 and Chalkville Road. Back then, it was somewhere around 9,000 cars a day that it would help us eliminate coming right there.
And that's how many years ago?
That was probably 4 or 5 years ago when first started talking about
What's that 9,000 number now?
I'd take 9,000 any day, to be honest with you. But we're going to have our first roundabout in Trussville. I don't know if you've heard about it.
Where's that going to be?
It's going to be between the Baptist Church and Glen Avenue up there. It's not a big one, but it was designed that way. And some people like them, some people don't. This is going to be one that's very easy to navigate. I can assure you that. But here we are. Trussville's going to have us a roundabout.
How about that? Will the middle of it be built up enough that people can't just drive over it like they do in my neighborhood?
I won't say they can't drive over it, but I hope they won't drive over it.
Right. Yeah. I've definitely seen that in my neighborhood where I'm like, that's a roundabout, right? You don't just go over the middle of that.
But it saves you half a second. to
Oh,
get through that thing.
Man, leave earlier.
Leave
you
early.
hear that, Trussville? Leave earlier. Lord have mercy. What legacy do you believe you've left for Trussville?
Oh gosh, I don't get into legacies, but I hope, and I do believe this. I think the administrations that I've been fortunate to work with have made a positive impact on Trussville. And I guess if that's it, whether it's development or if it's roads or if it's just being able to buy your car tag at City Hall instead of going to the courthouse now.
That's been huge for me.
Yeah,
So I ain't got to go to Center Point for that.
And then, I get so many compliments on that because we all know the experience that we suffered through for a long time.
Yeah.
And most people have a pleasant experience. You don't have to stand in line very long. The ladies do a great job down there.
They do.
So, that was something that we were able to get going early on. And it's really, we don't make a lot of money off of it, to be quite honest with you. It's more of a service.
It's a service. Well,
yeah. And so
it's one of those general welfare of the city type things.
Yeah.
You keep people here. I mean, it's not like keeping people here with something like an entertainment district, but it's keeping people here for convenience.
That's right. And people had to take a lot more time to go to the courthouse.
Oh, yeah.
Now you can come in there, pop in there, and if you got all the things ready, you're in and out. No time.
5 minutes.
Yeah.
5 minutes when we got our Atlanta Braves tags a couple months ago. So, I mean, Jessica was in there. 5 minutes later, she's out of there.
Yeah.
Just quick.
And I tell you, that's really been something that people have appreciated. So little things like that mean a lot too, Gary.
How have y'all kind of, there has been a ton of growth. I mean, year over year, just a ton of it, especially these last, we'll just talk about these last 9-10 years. How hard has it been to balance, kind of allowing growth, smart growth, whatever, versus rapid, while kind of preserving what Trussville kind of has been, that kind of thing? How hard is that balance?
Well, it's been very challenging, to be quite honest with you, because a lot of the growth came in such waves, and I'm talking about, whether it's the school system or a new subdivision or whatever. So it wasn't like people were trickling in, Trussville became a destination, and I tell people that own new businesses, we'll have a ribbon cutting with the chamber, and I'll thank them for choosing Trussville. Well, people choose where they want to live, where they want to send their kids to school, and it was coming at us in such a hurt, just like our infrastructure. You just got to do the best you can to catch up. But yeah, it was very challenging. We've had some good developments, I think. Things have slowed down now, quite honestly, and
pretty good. Yeah.
Glad to have. And but they came at us in waves of just big developments, and we don't have that. We don't have that big tract of land left. There's not many of those left right now.
Glendale and Deerfoot.
Yeah, and I think that's going to let us slow down a little bit. And I think, and I know Ben and his administration are working hard on some new subdivision regs and things like that. But that was a challenge, is trying to balance growth as it was coming at us. And so hopefully we've managed it pretty well.
How much? I'm curious about this. We'll go something super recent. I live in Stockton. That's going to be storage units, is my understanding. That
on
land
on
the front end.
Yeah. From what I understand too, we at one time there was a gated senior living proposal there on
that spot,
and it didn't go through. But the traffic light at Stockton,
thank God,
was something. Back years ago, it had been warranted by we had ALDOT to do a study, and they were going to let us put a traffic signal up. But when the new section on the west side of the development had an out going towards Amarex, well, then that reduced the numbers, and then we had to go back. So as Stockton built out, then it obviously won't. But that traffic signal was much needed. Several accidents there over the years.
If it wasn't there, we'd probably have somebody dead.
Yeah, it's so that's made a big difference. But that's one of those things I was talking about earlier, how it just takes time to go through it. Carrington has been approved of a traffic signal now. And so that's going to take a couple of years to get it done. They're going to do some widening on the bridge there, different things. but you gotta get in the hopper and get that thing going. Yeah. And while we're having this conversation, I might as well go ahead and say we're going to send out one of the alerts today, but there'll be working on the railroad crossing at Carrington Drive.
I think I got that while we were sitting here, because like I will look at a text while we're on these, just in case someone's like, hey, can't hear you. Or Justin Williamson one of these times was telling us to stop tapping on the table. Yeah, there it is. There's your alert. So okay. There you go. We'll just tell them some news. So Norfolk Southern closing the entrance of Carrington on Monday, October 27th at 8 a.m. after school buses have ran their morning pickup. Hard road closure. No traffic will be allowed to pass during the closure. Work expected to last 1 day, could possibly be 2 days. So use alternate routes during the closure. School buses will still be running, but could be delayed. Back entrance for the subdivision will be open. Sorry for the inconvenience, it also says.
Yeah. And again, that was something that just came up. I got a call this week on it, actually. And they're like, Mayor, we're going to need to work on that crossing. I'm like, well, when? And they're like, how about Monday? And I'm like, okay, we just missed fall break. I wish it'd been then when people were going to school bus routes and all that. But I said, we don't have a choice. I got to fix it. So hopefully they'll get it done in 1 day, but I doubt it.
Yeah. Back at from a planning zoning, I'm curious about this kind of stuff. Like at one time you mentioned that particular spot in front of Stockton being a senior living. Now it's storage unit. How much can the city, can planning and zoning, just from an administrative standpoint, do like if residents in Stockton, I'm not saying they are, I'm sure there's plenty of people that are like, I don't want that right in front of my neighborhood. I'm probably one of them. But it's like, how much can you actually do to not allow certain things? Do you end up getting involved in lawsuits? Like, how does it work?
Well, you could be in a lawsuit if you're not consistent in the way you handle these things. But our board does a fantastic job of analyzing the best use of land. That's what they're supposed to do, is the best use of that site. And whatever that zoning is, if they want to change the zoning, somebody's coming in with something that doesn't fit, then that's when the board becomes really involved in it. And so they've had some of those, quite honestly, and they've done a fantastic job of kind of making sure we don't get in those kind of lawsuits to deny somebody an opportunity. And it's worked out good. But you're right. It's all according to what fits in that zone, first of all. And if it fits, then you try to work with them on what it's going to be, what it's going to look like, and things like that.
Yeah. There was a joke going around Stockton when those bulldozers, not recently, this is a while back, there was a joke going around that it was going to be a Dollar General, and people lost their minds. And I was kind of like, I like a good Dollar General.
I love
you tell me I'm like probably the one person in Stockton who doesn't have a golf cart. It's not my thing.
I understand.
I like them on a golf course, not on the road. In
fact, I wouldn't be on the golf course if it didn't happen.
Yeah, not on the road. Not on the road trying to pass an 11-year-old driving the thing.
No.
But I'm like, man, I could just hit the Dollar General right there at my neighborhood. I thought it was a good idea.
We've had several people look at that site, Gary.
Yeah.
From commercial development,
sure.
from a little convenience store kind of thing that would help. But Dollar General, I heard it too. And then something else, I forgot what it was, but it's not going to be the Dollar General.
Can we get another Chick-fil-A right there? Let's see if we want to show this or not. Hey, there we go. I'll show that. Mark Turner says there are two of us not having a golf cart. I'm not alone in Stockton.
Okay.
Me and Mr. Turner do not have golf carts. I'll just walk or drive my car. Great, crazy thought. Right?
On the sidewalk.
Yeah. Recent stuff. So obviously budget stuff became such a big topic. Ooh, the sky was falling,
It was.
But y'all just...
I almost believed it.
Because it was around so much, it gets in your head. But y'all finished with what?
We're in excess of a little over $2 million.
Surplus. How did that happen?
Well, a number of ways, as you know. We found out about it last year, obviously in the middle of a budget year. We started working then, quite honestly. But during the year, as we tightened up on some things that we had to do, we had to make a decision on certain properties that we had that we did not see a use for anymore.
Yeah.
And not to Glendale in particular, but we wanted that to develop. We wanted that to be a light industrial park out there with a little town center and the school and things like that. Didn't work out.
Sure.
Could we hang on to it and hope something? We could, but we felt like it was not something that was in a priority for development for the city. And so we had that. We had the Deerfoot property that, one time there's going to be a big development up there. And
yeah.
then it went away. And so the utilities had a need for it. And Mike Strength approached me about it. I presented it to the council. So that helped because those are one-time, kind of deals, Gary.
Yeah.
But you throw that in there, we had to overcome almost $1 million to start with. We were $990-something thousand on that thing. And hey, it wasn't fun to sit up there and say that, but you had to be honest about it.
Oh yeah.
And I think you had to be, and I hate the word transparent. I think it's overused and misused.
That's like me with progress.
Yes, yeah. Well, maybe so. But golly, it was such a challenge, and it was a little bit of a time. And finally, the last 4 months, we could see it. We had a chance. And Joseph Calvert came by yesterday, I believe it was, and said it did end up a little over $2 million.
How about that?
Pretty excited about that.
So when the budget was tight then, and you're working through all that, how does the administration deal with competing needs in the city, park and rec,
Right.
all these different things, people need this, need that. How did y'all kind of manage that?
It's kind of like any other situation. You kind of prioritize. Public safety was always going to be number one here, as you know.
Got to be.
Now we put the hiring freeze in and things like that. We had a couple of projects out there that we took off the table. But if it was a need, and again back to the department heads and their employees, things had been so good for the last several years. It's kind of like, okay, the budget's there, and we got our money to do this and do that. Everybody just tighten that belt up. I don't think, and I could be wrong, I don't think our residents saw any drop off in services. In other words, we still had a strong public safety department. Justin Ferguson has done a fantastic job with our public works department. They're out there keeping our roads and our ditches and all that. Everybody just kind of hunkered down, as we said, and got it done. And what we wanted to do is to do that behind the scenes, so where it wasn't impactful on somebody's day-to-day living.
Yeah.
And I don't know that anybody suffered through it. Hopefully they didn't. But and it's going to be tight next year. The budget that was passed is still concerned. I think we're projecting maybe $1 million next year, but that could change. I tell people all the time, sinkholes are pretty expensive to fix in Trussville.
I know,
and we've had a bunch of them. And I think the last one we fixed was about $800,000 of unexpected expenses. But it's crazy. But it is a good budget. It's solid. There's still a freeze on new positions unless it's, like you said, if it's essential for us, we're moving in the right direction.
Yeah. Park and Rec. I kind of wanted to ask about this. I know there was was there a grant process for the playground that's behind the library? Is it the Masonic playground?
Yeah.
Because I know there's been so much talk. I see it from Jessica, a lot of talk amongst the moms groups and stuff like that of like, hey, we saw this out there, it needs an upgrade. And it's like, that stuff is in process. I was one of the ones that signed for the grant stuff. Where's that at?
I think we're going to get it. I feel, and it's a matching fund, by the way. So we asked for $1 million, which that's $1 million is that's not really in the budget right now.
Right.
But what we're talking about playground wise is making one. That's been a great playground. I mean, it has served a lot of us for many years.
Yeah.
But we need to make it better. We're going to make it more inclusive
Sure.
for everyone, expand it. And the first estimate, one of the estimates, I think we had 3. And to do what the city would like to do, it was almost $2 million to get it done, which is hard to believe. But I feel like we're going to get that through ADECA. We've kind of been told that we will probably get. I think we'll get all of it, even if we got $500,000. You know, that's $500,000. But that was important for us to do that.
Yeah. I'm just kind of going down this list now. We're just going to go in rapid fire a little bit. But what was the biggest unexpected? This is going to be an easy one, I think. But what was the biggest unexpected challenge that this administration had to manage? And would you COVID? And would you do anything differently?
COVID was a challenge, as you can imagine. You know, we had a press conference on the steps of City Hall that morning and talking about trying to get the governor to let some of these folks open up. And, you know, all that. It was challenging. We had just opened, by the way. Ferris had just opened.
Like October?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And man, they were rolling, and golly, it was rocking and rolling. And all of a sudden, you know, hey, you got to shut it down. People got to be 6 feet apart. Crazy. You could only have half as occupancy that you could have. So that's when we struck a deal on the pavilion out there where we could get people outside because they were less lenient on that. But a lot of businesses, you know, we looked at ways back then, Gary. Some people may or may not know this. The city was looking at ways to help financially during that time. Yeah. And we went as far as to the Attorney General to get ideas of how, and none of it fit what we wanted to do with people. But that was challenging, as you can imagine. We got through it. Yeah. We got through it. It slowed down some things, but it did. And I really think, you know, we talk about this SSUT thing, all this online shopping.
I was going to ask how much of it was born out of COVID.
Well, I do think that's where it really started peaking because people, you couldn't go buy it at the stores. They weren't open. And so, man, oh man, you know, you look back on COVID and what it did to the brick and mortars at that time. It still has an effect on brick and mortars because people got used to getting on that computer and hitting a button. And, you know,
you can do it on your phone.
Yeah.
Just push a button.
That's right.
Order. It'll be on my doorstep tomorrow.
I think they're reading my mind sometimes. Something shows up.
Those algorithms. Sometimes you don't even have to like look it up. I can just be like talking to Jessica about like, I don't know, let's just say it's like hey, I think Caden might need a soccer net or something like that. And then I get on Facebook. My God, there's a link to a soccer net.
It's amazing.
They've got us.
It's amazing.
I don't like it.
Yeah, I go back to one even more. Well, it was surprising. You're talking about unusual things. I had been in the office a very short time, and Magnolia was having their, you know, we opened Magnolia Elementary. Well, then we had a bomb threat. I don't know if you remember that.
I do remember that. Pretty quick.
Yeah. And then I'm in there looking through the, you know, the manual about, is this under my job description? The bomb threat.
Who handles this?
So, hey, that thing happened. Of course, our people handled it great. We had help from the county. Yeah. And come to find out, it was really a diversion tactic. They were trying to draw people there. They were going to try to hit a couple of banks or credit unions and things like 11. That. Yeah. But yeah, boy, that'll get you attention. A bomb threat in Trussville, Alabama.
Yeah. Yeah. I wanted to ask on that SSUT, how hard, because like that's obviously like, that's going to be a state level. It's not a fix that can happen quick, but like, how hard do you think it's going to be for there to be some sort of compromise? Like, you're not going to get rid of it fully because, you know, I've been going to some meetings at the town next door, you know, Clay over there, and hey, they like SSUT because they don't have as many brick and mortars. And I'm not going to say the number here, but for this last year, they told me how much more it added to their budget. And I mean, substantial.
Yeah. The challenge, Gary, as you could imagine, your own is not the Trussvilles of the world and the Homewoods or the Tuscaloosas. It's rural Alabama. and that's not going to go away. In fact, I saw where the whatever it's called, the Alabama Association of County Commissioners voted unanimously to not ask for a change. They want to keep it like it is.
Yeah.
And when you think about it, whether it's Clay or Pinson, think about some of these other little towns. Now, it to us, we would like more, and I'd like to say I'm glad we have it, because if we hadn't had it, we'd really have a budget shortfall.
Because you could get nothing.
Yeah, but I do think there's a way that they could fix some of that problem, and whether that destination, as far as delivery and things like that, I don't know. But the state's keeping their money, and the counties are keeping their monies, and the cities are. We're on a piece of pie that's real thin, right?
Real thin.
So I don't see it happening anytime soon. I know it's going to be talked about, but that's going to be one that's. And we support Tuscaloosa's effort, Mountain Brooks. I think every city would love to have more of that. It seems right if you talk about it.
Sure.
If I'm in Trussville and I order it and it comes here, Trussville gets the tax money. But that's the way it wasn't set up that way, and it's hard to change after you get down that road. Some states have done it though, have changed.
Oh, have they?
Yeah. I was told Tennessee has kind of revamped theirs a little bit.
Wow.
But, we're a little slow to revamp sometimes.
It definitely at the state level,
especially when the state's getting their money.
Yeah, I would like to be done playing just fantasy sports and actually like bet on the line of the game. Can't do it here.
Ain't happening, Gary.
Can't do it. KIV come after me if I do. So don't want that. But come on, let me do with my money what I want to do with my money.
Yeah, I mean it's like the gambling thing. How many times has it been talked about in Montgomery?
Yeah, we end up behind in so many ways.
Save a lot of people a lot of gas money going to Georgia, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I would love to buy a lottery ticket here instead of every time I go watch the Braves lose. Yeah. That's what I would like, man. Is there all right, we're going to go sharp but fair, and then we'll coast to the finish line here.
All right.
Is there something over these last 9-10 years? Is there something you would do differently, a mistake you made where you went pretty quickly, where you were like, ooh, I shouldn't have done that, and how would you do it differently if there is something?
Well, I know one thing that almost became a nightmare for us, and it worked out. And it really hadn't had any. We hadn't had many things that we're like, God, we should have done it. But I don't know if you remember the big pickleball controversy.
Vividly.
I knew you would. So we had this.
I wrote that story.
So I had this grand vision of this beautiful new hot sport, pickleball facility.
Still is.
Right there by our senior citizens building in the grassy area and right along the Cahaba River. And, what a great idea that was until it got out into public. And once once we had it staked out to where it would be,
those signs showed up.
And signs showed up. Kids, had drawn their signs and everything. And I mean, so I'm standing out there one day, honest to goodness, and I'm like,
I was messaging with you that day because when it started to get in flux.
Yeah. So I'm standing out there looking at that thing going, ooh, this is big. I didn't. Yeah. And of course, everybody was talking about, oh, that's where my kids learn to throw a football or throw a frisbee or whatever. And, all that came into play. But it just got to be too much. Mm-hmm. And I'm so glad that the people convinced me.
Sure.
And the council, quite honestly. Yeah. That's not the place for it. Yeah. And so that's one thing that almost, I would have.
It humbled you, I bet.
It did. It did. But it also let me know how much people cared.
Absolutely.
Genuine cared about that and other things. But, we can all sit behind a desk and we could look at pictures and say, God, hey, we would love to have that, doesn't it? And the renderings did look good. I don't know if you ever saw them. They look really good.
If I did. No, I did.
But architects and people like that have a way to make it look real good.
They're trying to sell something.
So that's one thing I'm so glad that the council, myself, and others listened to the public.
Yeah, I think if memory serves, I've always said this kind of, I guess this is the politically correct, riding the fence way of saying things, but I've always thought for that particular instance, that situation, I think people felt caught off guard by the location where it was like it was voted on and it was like the next morning Milam's putting up fencing. But at the same time, I'm like, I've sat in I don't know how many council meetings over the years. I don't sit in them much now,
No, you
if
don't.
at all. I'll watch it online. You throw a kid in the mix and things change. But there have been plenty where it's been me and Herschel and Richard Epstein, and the department heads, Roy Wage, and then nobody else. And I'm like, do I think the city should have probably like been a little more communicative? Sure. Do I also think people should attend these things and ask questions and not just rely on Facebook and stuff like that? Absolutely. So I'm glad that one in particular ended up where it ended up, because now it's right across the street from the Trussville Racket Club.
Oh yeah,
that makes all the sense in the world. And
it's not in a neighborhood.
It's that's I heard so much from the people up on Cherokee, off Seminole, and all that. And I don't know, because I didn't ask you when I talked to you about it. I don't know if when that location in front of the senior center was being discussed, I don't know if the Cabo River Society had any involvement or not. I didn't ask the question.
We would have had some. Probably
had it moved forward.
Yeah, I would think so. And
because that was a big concern that people had.
And we were trying, even the design of that, to move it as far away from the trail as we could for that reason. Yeah. But like you said, at the end of the day, it was the right decision not to put that thing.
And then I'm sure that thing's rocking and rolling now.
Doing well.
That's sport doesn't slow down.
We're wanting more, or our people are wanting more. So there it is. So
man. Is there any projects that were maybe, I don't want to say failed, projects that y'all had, not that one, but that were maybe cut, that you wish had moved forward or anything like that?
Well, we spent a lot of time designing a new city hall, and really we needed it. Yeah. Where we were, of course, the annexes turned out great. And I'll tell a quick story, but when the school board was moving out, our HR department, as you know, was in the very back of City Hall in two small rooms down the hallway. And HR director, Mandy Dixon, came to me and said, Mayor, do you think when the school board moves out, could we move HR over there? Because they deal with employees. I said, maybe, Mandy, let me go look at it. Because I'd been over there a bunch of times, but I'd never really spent a lot of time down the hall. I'd either go in the superintendent's office or the boardroom, where we are. So Stacy and I went over there, looked at that thing. We got to look at it and counting, and we're like, well, okay. So as it turned out, we were able to move everybody over there, except our court people, our magistrates and things like that. And so now, Gary, looking back on that, we do need a new city hall. I think Trussville deserves a city hall on that location that we're looking at now, but we don't have to have it right now. And,
you got time.
You can save $15 to $20 million, whatever that thing. Of course, building costs got so high, we just shelved it anyway. Yes. But we do have a plan. It's been worked on and developed. But our annex right now is filling the need for Trussville right now.
That's good. We'll start to wrap this up. I'm gonna skip past some of these, but the transition to Ben Short now becoming mayor, how have y'all has he been a sponge? How are y'all kind of working through that?
It's been great. Ben and I've had a lot of conversations, being close to the situation, being on the council, being as involved as he was, all the council people, being involved, really has kind of laid the groundwork for him. Change doesn't bother me. It's a little, I told somebody I've never had a job to where I knew somebody was coming in and taking my place. That makes sense. Yeah. But I have no problems. Ben I think he's got something scheduled tomorrow with his new council people meeting with the department heads, kind of have an opportunity to get ahead of the game. So I think the transition is fine. You could, maybe you'll have Ben on here before long, but he was in the office when I left a while ago, and he and Stacy were talking about a couple of things that had popped up. He put the thing out yesterday about new board members, applications, and all that. And we had several of those to come in overnight.
We've got an opening that I learned about yesterday on historical.
Yeah. So, yeah, sure do.
So,
and so I really think it's going to be a real, I want to say seamless, but the council will be the biggest challenge as far as their learning, with Jamie being the only returning council person there. But I think with Ben's experience and Jamie, and I think we've got a great council coming in, by the way. I'm excited. I'm excited for Trussville. I think we got people that want to be there for the right reasons. I made the comment last week at the luncheon for the chamber that this may be the first administration that doesn't have somebody on it that's collecting Social Security money.
It got younger. It did.
It got real young.
I did do some looking into Ben's age because we graduated together.
Yeah.
So I know how old he is, and I started looking back at Trussville's 10 previous mayors and when they were elected, and he's the youngest one.
No doubt about it.
I can't remember the exact.
Listen, I couldn't imagine running for mayor when I was 37, 38 years old, raising a family. But
I think you had maybe
things have changed.
I can't remember exactly, but I know Horace Norrell, the first mayor, maybe he was when he was elected first was maybe 40-ish, 41-ish, maybe. I can't remember for sure. And then there was one who was it might have been James Barr. I can't remember. He was a slick looking fella, but he might have been 39 or 40, somewhere in there. But everyone else has been, in that mid to late 40s, 50s, 60s.
It's kind of, in my situation, I had to raise my children. They all got married, got out of school, and I had served, on the council and things like that.
Yeah.
But it's exciting. And I tell you, Gary, and you've been a part of it. We've got some great potential in our leadership Trussville classes, and you've seen that. You've been involved, but just the idea of people wanting to know more about Trussville.
It's wild to see how much they learn that they didn't know. Where it's you get that peek behind the curtain, and you're like, "There's more behind this curtain than I thought."
Yeah, absolutely. A great example last month, the visit to the Actor Theater and the museum over there.
Mm-hmm.
Several didn't know about it.
No.
And I'm not saying that negative. I'm just saying
true.
That it's great that they had an opportunity to see that and to tour the library and to see this and that. So that has been really good. And that was something I fed off of Birmingham really when I went down and the leadership Birmingham. I was on that panel discussion down there. The first time was so awkward. But it's Trussville. It's kind of like we talked about having an entertainment district in Trussville. We have a leadership Trussville now, which will help people kind of understand what I think are the true values of living here.
Oh yeah, it's definitely been a cool thing, a big help to these people because I'll talk to them after, because I'll take them through the museum. I've talked to them certainly about the history, about our CHHF group, stuff like that. And the stuff that they're coming from, whether it be the library or going to utilities or hanging out with the fire department, whatever. And they're just like, I just didn't know there was so much. I'm like, you're getting a crash course.
It's a full exposure, as we
full
say.
Exposure. Christy does a great job.
She does. Oh, fantastic.
Fantastic. I want to take them. I've talked to Christy about this. It's up to her. I take the leadership Hewitt Trussville kids every year now with Amber Benson on a history tour in Trussville. So they have I think they call it Gateway to Happy Living Day. And so they come, it's coming up in December. It's been December every year, and they show up to Heritage Hall, 8:30 in the morning. We do a 2-hour bus tour of Trussville where I've got the mic, they've got their headsets, and I tell them about the history, and we flow through the city.
They have no idea.
We get out at 5 or 6 different spots, depending on the weather. Hopefully it's good weather, and just kind of educate them on that. And I want to keep growing that thing to where, hey, when we stop off at where the school burned in 1973, which is the parking lot of the annex, I would love it if hey, make this thing as immersive as possible where, hey, I'm going to tell you about this school for a minute or two, a couple minutes, but you come out or Ben Short comes out and says, here's what we got going on right now in City Hall.
Yeah.
So that at these spots where we get off, there's like another speaker.
Something else is going.
Yeah. And I would love to do that with the leadership Trussville group too.
Well,
Their timing is
Amber has done a fantastic job. When she came over from Mount Brook, she met with me and told me about it. That just made me want to even do it more. She got started a little earlier than I did, but we work with them through Leadership Trussville. We work with the students, and what a great group of kids they are. We have a representative from that group on our board at our board meetings with Leadership Trussville. So, what you're doing is really kind of what we want to do is tell them the history and let them learn. A lot of us parents didn't live here either.
No, they moved
so
here. Moved here for the schools.
Yeah, they'll go home and tell mom and dad, "Did you know?"
Yeah. I remember specifically there was we had the Cahaba Elementary fourth graders come over learning Alabama history, and one of them went home, told his dad about something he saw in the museum or something like that. They came to our next opening or whatever. So I'm like, y'all just keep doing that because we're
now they do the virtual tour.
Now the virtual tour is awesome.
It is,
but it's that's like a little appetizer.
It's
a tease to come show up. We got to be able to open more.
But that was a project at Leadership Trussville.
Oh yeah. Worked with them on it. Got to watch him do the camera and stuff when they did all that. That was neat. Really. Yeah. Hopefully we'll have some more space in the future.
I hope so.
Just gonna put that out. Me too. Trussville needs it. Both those entities need more space.
Absolutely.
I'm not gonna get on my soapbox. What do you think? We'll start to kind of wrap with this. This new administration, you kind of mentioned it. It is a good group. What do you think their first priorities should be?
Well, talking to Ben, obviously the budget, managing that budget properly, because you got a lot of inexperience there. You don't want somebody to be taken advantage of because somebody says we need this, got to have this, whatever. But I think Ben will be that driving force behind that. So I do think the challenge of the first year is managing the budget, but also just absorbing, as some people say, drinking through a fire hose at first. There's such a willingness to learn that I think their big challenge is get comfortable in those roles.
Absolutely.
Whoever's going to be liaison to the board, or whoever's liaison to the library or public, whatever that role is, they got to get comfortable in that. They got to get to know those people. The public is going to be here. They're going to hear from them. Some are inviting comments. I don't think you have to invite them because you're going to get them.
You're going to get them.
But I do think that all of them ran with a mindset of I want to hear from the public. I'm willing to listen, which
absolutely.
I think you have to do that. I think that's part of governing is listening. The pickleball thing, you can't just sit behind the desk and meet twice a month with your council and say, this is what we got to do.
Yeah.
So I do think that the first year challenge is just getting comfortable in those roles and then coming up with things after that.
Yeah. We'll read this comment real quick. One of those newcomers to the city council, Ben Horton, commented on here and said, "Thank you for your steadfast leadership and years of dedicated service to the Trussville community. New administration is looking forward to carrying the legacy torch that illuminates Trussville's high quality of life." So that's from Ben Horton.
Yeah, thank you. Ben's going to be terrific.
Ben is going to be terrific. I like Ben a lot. He's coming on here soon.
Oh, okay.
Let me know that
Good luck, Ben.
Let me know that date still works, Ben. Last thing, just to wrap this thing up. I know we talked when you decided not to run. Where were y'all? Were you in Canada?
We're going to Nova Scotia.
Nova Scotia.
Yeah.
Where now that this is coming to an end, where do you want to go that you haven't been? What's official retirement look like?
Well, somebody asked me that. I said, I don't know. I've only worked for 50 years. I don't know what retirement's supposed to look like, but I see other people doing things here. So I guess what I'm doing is kind of like that new council. I'm going to go in it with my eyes open and see what I like. We would love to go back. I don't know if you've ever been to Nova Scotia, but there's a lot of that we didn't see. But there's a lot. I don't have to go overseas somewhere. I don't have to do that to be happy. I love to go to Italy or Greece or whatever.
Sure.
But when I could go and do things here, I think Jenny and I will enjoy that. And one thing I got to do is I got to find me a car. This is weird. My whole adult working life, I've had a company car or a city car. And so I've never bought a car for myself.
Really?
So, yeah. So, I got to get on the stick here because I got to turn that thing in here in another week or 10 days or something like that. But
I got a feeling Drew Lolly's going to hear this. And he's going to be calling you.
Drew, is that him right there?
Probably. He's going to be showing you one of those commercials that his kid's been working on.
Well, there's nobody that I'd rather buy one from than Drew Lolly. I tell you that.
There's a shout out to Courtesy GMC if I've ever heard one.
Great folks.
Yeah.
Great folks. But anyway, thank you, Gary, for having me today.
I appreciate you doing this.
You've been we've talked over the years.
I know.
And you'd call me and want to get the annual what's going to happen this year kind of story.
I got so tired of those. I bet you did too.
Well, I'm like, I'd like to know exactly what's going to happen, but we can talk about it.
Yeah, it's just like a prediction kind of thing. What could happen? This is much more fun. Where like hey,
I like to talk about what did happen.
Yeah, did happen, and I like it like this, where I can kind of show people how the sausage is made if I'm writing something. Like, hey, this is just kind of how it goes. And you know what? I ain't gonna write anything from it. You just watch it.
And I don't have to worry about making notes and saying, "Oh, did I tell him this or whatever?" We just play this thing back. Go, yeah, I did say that.
That's just way easier. Way easier. Well, I appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for doing this. And just to wrap this thing up with sponsors, y'all see it on the bottom ticker there. 360 Lending, navigating paths to home ownership. Visit my360lending.com. Also, thank you to Mark Turner, attorney at law. Visit markturnerlawfirm.com or call 205-568-7003. Thank you all for tuning in. You can watch this back. It'll save Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, all the things. Appreciate you guys tuning in.